what Bascom really wants today is a truck of baby formula. The government shutdown affected some programs that usually provide formula to families who need it.
All the food banks have been scrambling, trying to figure out how can we get baby formula into the network.
But to get the formula, he'll have to outbid hundreds of food banks on this choice system, Feeding America's method of deciding who gets what. If a food bank really wants a certain truckload, they can place a high bid. Whoever bids the most wins that truckload. Every day, currency, sort of like digital fake cash, is redistributed among the food banks. It's the brainchild of Canis Prendergast, an economist at the University of Chicago. When he started working on this, he remembers talking to a man named Roger about the old system.
And Roger says, I'm sick of them giving me potatoes.
Roger was a food bank director in Idaho.
I have so many potatoes here already. I have a warehouse full of potatoes.
The problem was Feeding America had no way to know that one food bank might be overflowing with potatoes and another might desperately want some. So Prendergast proposed this market economy where food banks use fake cash to indicate they don't want potatoes but would love baby formula. He tried to make the system efficient and equitable.
There's an inherent fairness in it.
For example, food banks in areas with higher poverty get more points to spend. And it's working. Prendergast says food banks value the donations through the choice system much more than before.
In a world where people want very different things, but you're not sure exactly what they want, sometimes markets, if they're designed well, can facilitate choice in that way.
But markets can't solve scarcity. Back in Missouri, it's now noon, and Darrell Bascom, with the food bank, is seeing how he fared with the bid system. He did win that truck of snacks for 3,000 points, but
what did that load of baby formula go for in the end? It went for 40,000 points.
He lost to a food bank in New York that spent more shares on formula that day than Bascom had in his whole account. In any economy, you can't always get what you want. In Missouri, I'm Harshawn Rattenpaul for Marketplace.
But you can get this if you want. Our free Daily Wrap newsletter brings you the day's news on money, markets, innovation, workplace culture, straight to your inbox weekday evenings. Our crew puts out a tight, sparkling read, I would say. Sign up for the Marketplace Daily Wrap, free, marketplace.org/subscribe. In Los Angeles, I'm David Brancaccio with our morning report. We are from APM, American Public Media.
On Finding Your Roots, actors Pamela Adlon
I'm so curious.
and Katherine Hahn.
They went to a new world.
Family history reveals secrets
What? How do you know that?
and scandal.
Do you think they kept all of this a secret from everyone?
Isn't that nuts?
Plus, a DNA match.
What? That's so cool.
Tune in November 25th at 9 p.m. on WTJX-TV Channel 12.
Stay updated with news, alerts, and other valuable information with WTJX Newsfeed. Get the latest news stories that matter from veteran news journalist Tom Ader. Just download the WTJX app or online, WTJX.org. WTJX Newsfeed, your source for stories that matter.
WTJX 93.1 Charlotte Amalia, your NPR station in the Virgin Islands.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
And good Wednesday morning, and welcome to another edition, a hump day edition, a Thanksgiving Eve edition of Analyze This here on your NPR station in the U.S. Virgin Islands, WTJX FM 93.1. We're yours truly, Neville James. Beautiful day in paradise. The visibility ain't as nice as it was yesterday, but still nice. I'm saying I still saw the outline, a little outline, but nothing like the last couple of days. We're going to be off tomorrow and Thursday. So, do have a wonderful Thanksgiving for those who celebrate it. You know what I'm saying? And enjoy the long weekend. That'll be a Thursday through Sunday deal. And God willing, we'll be back on Monday. I think today we're supposed to be talking with the VITEMA folk. Right? And looking forward to speaking with them. It's Hurricane Preparedness Hour, the last Wednesday of the month. And effective midnight on Sunday, right? 1 o'clock strikes Monday morning at 12 a.m. The hurricane season will officially be over. And we want to thank the Most High for sparing us in 2025. And we're good with that. Let me call the weather service so they can let us know what to expect from a weather standpoint throughout the weekend. And looks like we get those morning showers, those intermittent, as I like to call them. And we're good. Hey, Lolo, we were talking about last night. We were talking about Bobby Lester from back in the day. So at some point, I go get you on so we could talk a little bit about Bobby Lester, the basketball player. Do we have the weather service on the line? Good morning. Who am I speaking with?
Good morning, with Gloria Rivera.
Gloria Rivera, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
That's good to hear.
We've got nice weather today. Is it going to remain that way?
Yes, it's going to remain that way. And for the Thanksgiving activities that you may have this weekend, excellent news, is going to stay that way.
Okay, that's good. Any precipitation over the weekend?
Maybe during the morning hours, we might have some passing showers across the area, but the accumulations are going to be minimal. That's going to be only on the morning hours. Then in the rest of the day, into the afternoon hours, it's going to be nice, warm, and mostly sunny across the islands.
Okay, can we get a marine advisory for our boaters and our beachgoers, please?
Yeah, so right now we're expecting sea conditions to slightly deteriorate by tonight into Friday, particularly over the Atlantic offshore water. So if you're planning to go outside this is mainly for the boaters, we're going to have a small craft advisory in effect starting tonight until Friday. So if you're expecting to go out in the water, so take that in mind that sea conditions are going to be a little bit higher across that area, and that's because the arrival of a weak northerly swell that's going to be in the area through at least the end of the work week.
Okay. So, in totality, we're looking at a pretty good weekend, pretty good long weekend?
Yes, it's going to be a pretty long weekend, especially if you have outdoor activities planned this weekend, so it's going to be nice and warm.
Thank you very much, Gloria Rivera.
You're welcome. Have a nice day.
You too. Enjoy the weekend.
Bye-bye.
That's not Gloria Rivera from the Weather Service down there in San Juan. So, I want to thank the Weather Service. They're always helpful. So we're joined here, Deputy Director Regina Browne.
Yes.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Fine, and you?
Doing well. How's VITEMA doing?
Pretty good. Just wrapping up the hurricane season, but staying vigilant because there are other hazards that we actually have to stay vigilant for.
No, I don't. Tell me about these other hazards that we're supposed to be vigilant for. Tell me about them.
Earthquakes and tsunamis. There are no season. No notice events, so they don't have a season. So although hurricane season is finishing, we just still continue to training, outreach events, and different things to get the community prepared.
That's what I'm talking about. So, since you went there, let's talk tsunami. Low-lying areas are a primary concern.
Correct. Anything that's below 82 feet above sea level or less than 2 miles inland would be the tsunami induation zone. So that's just as far as the water is going to come in.
What's the word you used there before? Zone?
Induation zone.
In what?
Induation.
Induation?
Yes.
No, because I didn't learn them mode one of the answers. I'm going to look it up now. And by definition, induation.
It's supposed to be the area that most of... You ever saw tsunami maps that people see online while the yellow goes around?
Mm-hmm.
It's where the most water can be accumulated if a tsunami event does happen. So you're in a hazard area, or the tsunami hazard area.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. And then earthquakes. Who are the areas that we're looking at?
For earthquakes, we're looking at like houses that are not on bedrock. The houses who are not on bedrocks tend to feel a lot of significant shaking. So we're working very closely with the Puerto Rico Seismic Network with Dr. Vanacore and Victor in Puerto Rico. And we actually had a visit with them last month when they were able to come and test all of our seismic stations. So we're really excited about that partnership and us learning more about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Now, once the hurricane season wraps up, are you again analysis mode, looking back at the 6 months?
Yes, we do. We have like a hot wash or after action on what went well, what didn't go well, and what we need to improve upon. So we call it the continuous improvement process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The water's inundation.
Sorry, I'm half Hispanic. I'm sorry.
No, both of us are asleep.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Both of us are asleep. Yeah,
yes.
Inundation.
I'm so sorry.
No, apologize. We go. I know inundate.
Yes.
Inundation is, I know the word. Inundate is when things are coming towards you, coming like when you're being inundated.
Yes.
Right. So that's the word. Okay, we're good. So you were saying about the earthquakes, the structure of the facilities.
Correct.
Okay.
And people just have to be conscious that if an earthquake does happen and it's a major earthquake and you have to get out of the building, you're not supposed to go in until it's been assessed, because it could be unsafe. It could be structurally impaired in some way, or it could be weakened. So we just want people to understand that aspect. So a lot of us, like for VITEMA, if something happens significantly, we have our continuity of operation site, which will become the BIT office by close to the bowling alley. In that area, that's where we would go. In St. Thomas, they would go to the Omar Browne fire station. Just to be safe, and make sure that we can still, go back to our priorities, our mission essential priorities.
And the relationship between earthquakes and tsunamis.
The relation is very significant because I lean very heavily on Professor Roy Watlington, who's our tsunami expert, and all of these tsunamis that have been triggered in the Caribbean have been a major effect of an earthquake. I think it's over like 40 to 75%. But I could send you the data that we usually do in presentations. So if you feel a strong earthquake that you can't even catch your balance, that means a local tsunami is possible, and that first wave could hit in less than 15 minutes. In 1867, the first wave hit St. Croix in 6 minutes, Charlotte Amalie in 10 minutes.
We had an earthquake to the east of Barbuda and Antigua recently.
Yes, we did. And we actually use
any resulting tsunamis as a result of that?
No.
To your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge. And I actually work with Cristobal Hildebrand in Puerto Rico, and she hasn't said any significance that happened. But I think it's the University of West Indies. I could be wrong, but the seismic center there usually manages those events.
Monitor?
Yes.
Let me look that up. University of West Indies.
It's like WUWI.
Am
I right? Yeah, sorry.
They got multiple campuses. Barbados, Jamaica, all that stuff. So, and they got seismic center, is it?
They have like a seismology center, a seismic center that manages
a seismic research center.
Yes.
It not come up already. Yeah. UWI, seismic research center. Okay, that's good.
But Puerto Rico Seismic is our authority for earthquakes.
Well, it had an earthquake. What's that about? 27, 26. Had an earthquake 3 days ago.
Yep, I have this cool app, and anybody could download it. It's CISN.
Off of Martinique.
Yes.
4.5.
Yes.
Okay, didn't know that. Okay, it said beauty event and all that stuff.
And if you go to like CISN, I think it's California. I forget what the I is. I think it's Integrated Seismic Network. But if you Google CISN, it comes up. You can actually download it on your computer. And when the earthquakes happen, you can put like a polygon or a box of the areas of concern, and it actually lights up your computer when an earthquake happens and gives you all of the events.
No, I like this website that
UWI? Yes.
Yeah, and it actually shows you where the earthquake was, and how many months the previous earthquakes or tremors may have been from every location. So that's interesting. So the one off of Antigua Barbuda, that's a 5.3.
Correct.
Off of Montserrat.
Yes, and the thing we want people to also understand, when you get your alert BI messages for us from earthquakes, and sometimes you get a reading of like a magnitude of maybe 4.3, and then it comes in later and it might be a 4.0. Sometimes it takes 7 to 10 minutes, for the seismologist stations to actually read them accordingly. So the last one is the true magnitude, not the first one. So we just wanted people to, clarify that a bit.
Okay. No, I would recommend this website to everybody. Map.uwi seismic being SISMIC.com. Okay, map.uwi seismic. It's all one word. UWISEISMIC.com. And when you go there, you're going to see all of the earthquake ages and all that stuff. It's a good website. I like that. This is the Caribbean.
Yes.
This runs from, this is mostly Lesser Antilles.
Yes.
Okay,
because
there is no Greater Antilles in this map.
No, because everybody has like their area of responsibility. So for them, that's their area of responsibility. But if you go on USGS, they normally have some that's more in our region. If you go to the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center website, you'll see like all of that information that they send to them. But I think, if my memory serves me right, Pacific Tsunami Warning Center can only send them the information as like an information statement on the magnitude. But because they're not under the U.S., they have the authority to follow whatever protocols that they follow or whoever their authority is.
Okay, that's good. Now, they have on this the National Weather Service, they got tsunami evacuation and inundation maps, and they also have here the different states that have their maps and territories. So Guam has one. I see Puerto Rico.
Yes.
And U.S. Virgin Islands.
Yes.
Okay, so we're in this. Okay, that's good. So you can go to www.weather.gov and tsunami maps, and you go. Hold on there. Let's see what actual site this is. Yeah, weather.gov and tsunami maps, and you'll see everything you need to see there. Okay, that's good. Now, is there Graciela Rivera? That's her name.
Our hazard mitigation officer.
She's still at our.
Yes.
She works with Guanel.
Yes,
Dr.
Guanel, yes.
And they put a map together, or they put a study together.
I didn't have a study. Yeah,
They do a study.
her grant funding. Yes.
Okay. VITEMA plays a role. Ms. Rivera is the one who plays the role on behalf of VITEMA in that study.
Yes, and she usually brings us some of us to the table when needed, just to be that part of the conversation.
Because we're studying a lot of different things now to include humidity.
Correct.
Okay. It got bad this year, but it could have been worse. So we're grateful, right?
Yes.
I know last year was awful.
Yeah, and we're kind of learning the new ways to say it with the whole DEI restrictions. You say like extreme heat or different things. We're not supposed to say those words anymore, so we're trying to figure out the ways to that's, what do you call it, like in compliance with the grants, if that makes sense. Like you said, we said tsunami risk prone areas. We're not allowed to use risk anymore. So we're just navigating that new normalcy.
I apologize for the hardships that I was dealing with.
Yeah.
Just word restrictions and all that stuff. So, it happens.
Yep.
So we're joined by another VITEMA Big Shot here.
Yes, she is.
Big Shot. I'm a sawfish. Good morning, everyone. My name is Julissa Martinez, and I am the PIO for VITEMA.
Okay. What kind of information you got for us today?
What? Should I know you were gonna come
You
with
said
that, right?
you said public information officer. You give yourself away. So
I know a whole lot though, but I know you don't have your own agenda. We could talk about anything. We can talk about tsunamis. We can talk about earthquakes. We can talk about hurricanes.
I actually yield to VITEMA on the last Wednesday every month. So my agenda really, is I kick it to the curb.
Yeah.
And Gito Ayo. So
That's amazing. What did Deputy Director of Planning and Preparedness want to talk about today? I yield to her.
No. I don't do the yield. There's but so much I'm gonna allow you to take some chance with this man. Okay? I the yielder in me, right? So, no, I'm just joking. Public information. Talk to us. What going on this month? Let's talk this month. What happened throughout November?
November is marking the end of hurricane season. I'm so elated to say that. It is devastating of Melissa and Jamaica for sure, but to come to a close and get to breathe a little bit is an amazing thing. While there are other hazards out there, I'm happy to say that November closes, or the end of November closes the end of hurricane season.
But it'll still rain in December.
Yes, it does rain. Flooding is definitely a component that we deal with living in the Virgin Islands. Unfortunately, we can't always predict when that flooding may happen, but it is rainy season, so the problems that you had during the hurricane season with your roof would more likely persist, but at least it's a better time to try and plan for those types of circumstances.
Ms. Browne, we had a flash flooding here. When was it? Oh, I guess September.
Mm-hmm.
What did we learn from that? Because that kind of happened rather quickly. How that whole thing developed that Thursday morning.
No, it did. And what we learned, because I think it was a multiple day event, what we actually learned is how to better plan to kind of the cancellation of schools, the cancellation of non-essential workers. For VITEMA, even though the rain was happening, we were at work because our building had a little bit of water that, got to the offices, but thankfully we were there. But it just learned that I think the first day we kind of delayed with the schools. Remember, we got a lot of...
the governor had cut
yes.
out on the stuff. Yeah, so we take a break, come back and pick up the discussion as well.
No
back
problem.
Right after this. And we're back here on Analyze This. It's the last one of the month, so we have the Virgin Islands Territorial Emergency Management Agency joining us as per the norm here in the studio. We got Deputy Director Regina Browne and Public Information Officer Jaleesa Martinez joining us here. Good morning, ladies. Glad to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
So, let me see. September 18th. Was around that time.
Yes.
Right? And so they had a departing tropical wave combined with an upper level trough of low pressure and enhanced showers and thunderstorms. And then we had gotten an elevated risk from the Weather Service across Puerto Rico here in the territory. What have you know? This thing developed rather quickly. You can see here from the photo in downtown Christiansted.
Yeah.
That's a lot of water in Christiansted, and then the waterfront. Right, they're right there. So you were talking about from a learning standpoint how quickly the rain, the storm or the event developed, creating the the flash flooding circumstances. The governor was stuck at the airport. He actually had called in to talk about, because he didn't want to cancel schools, but then he had to do it. Talk about the communication and the relationship VITEMA has with agencies when you're processing all that information and then arriving at a conclusion.
Basically, when we know there's a potential threat that is going to affect the territory, Director Joshin, through his operations division, which is under Deputy Director Bruce Kelly, we would then kind of partially stand up the Emergency Operations Center, which means that all key agencies from emergency support functions 1 through 15, which is basically the key people like Department of Human Services, Health, Bureau of Information Technology, Virgin Islands Police Department, Agriculture, WAPA, Energy, all of them. I forgot it. If I didn't say anyone, I mean all of them from ESF 1 to 15. We actually stand up and Director Joshin goes to his cabinet members and kind of get the commissioners or the head of those agencies involved. We then have continuous meetings with the Weather Service from Puerto Rico continuously to kind of get more feedback on what's happening. Then Director Joshin, of course, speaks through the Chief of Staff, Mr. Kevin Williams, and that communication is consistently occurring through multiple meetings as we're getting just preparatory like events ready, like shelters potentially. If we know the threat is going to be significant, we're going to make sure we get the PIOs. Through Jaleesa is going to stand up the Joint Information Center to get that one voice, one sound out to the community to let them know. And of course, the Department of Education is a part of it for schools. And then that determination of the government closing or not, even though sometimes you may hear the government closed, the ESF still have to report to VITEMA. We still have to continue to work because we have to make sure that we're just as prepared. I think we did like sandbag distributions, making sure people come out for the sandbags, because sometimes when we're there, me and Ms. Martinez work it ourselves for the last 2 or 3 years, and sometimes the community doesn't come out when we do sandbag distribution under blue skies, meaning there's no threat. But then when a threat is happening, I think we actually pushed it sooner than we were supposed to because of that threat happening, just to make sure the community got a lot of sandbags. And we learned from all of these events to know, like, hey, we're going to do some more preparation on our end. We took some constructive feedback back, but Director Joshin is in communication with the governor and those directors consistently and letting us know what our mission objectives are. And just making sure planning goes out with the outreach. Jaleesa will start to post stuff on the Weather Service. She created this cool thing on our Facebook page. If you go to it, is it what, when, why?
A look into the Atlantic, and it explains who, what, when, and why. But I would like to add and piggyback onto the sandbag distribution that you spoke about. Next year, as of now, we will not be distributing sand. We will be distributing bags so you can repurpose your sand. So it's very important for you to store them in a cool, dry area. They are not supposed to get wet. If they did get wet, however, they're more than likely they will not be able to be used next year. But next year, we are planning to have a distribution of bags to repurpose the sand that was given this year.
Interesting. What about Water Island? How do we go about making sure that they are looked out for? That's a marina a boat access, a marine access jurisdiction.
Director Joshin actually makes a point, and through, of course, the administration, making sure we do look out for water islands specifically. So they usually get sandbags through VI Fire and EMS to make sure it's over there for them through coordination with DPW, of course, through Commissioner Gabriel. But they always make sure that there's a certain amount that goes to them through Rachel Ackley and also policy advisor Colette Monroe. There's always a way of making sure they get the necessities that they need and the resources that they need. We actually just did a tsunami walk with them. We did it on every island, and we were like, nope, we have to go to Water Island because they're a part of the Virgin Islands, and it was very successful. A lot of good feedback, and we're going to be going back to do outreach events, just different things to make sure that they're engaged, and they're very open to it.
Ms. Martinez, you want to dovetail on that as a PIO?
I did get to go to Water Island for the very first time. It was very captivating, and the response that we got from the community there about hazards in general was amazing. Excited to do CERT over there, excited to incorporate them a lot more in all of our hazard outreach.
St. John, okay, none over there. The new schools supposed to have a shelter incorporated in the construction, but until then, where's the shelter on St. John? To the best of your knowledge. No?
I don't remember the correct name. I don't want to say it wrong on your radio waves, but I know there is the center.
Estate Agent or something?
Yes, that's what I didn't want. I think it's a senior center, no? The Agent Senior Center.
Yeah.
And they have that there, but they are trying to incorporate, like you said. So Ms. Henry and Commissioner George have been involved in Director Joshin. So he actually does all of the shelter visits to make sure he's a part of it. And I know that Megan Enright with Love City Strong and the Coral Bay Foundation have been very involved in just trying to make sure that St. John is prepared. So we actively go over there as well and just keep engaged with them.
Okay. What is the shelters in St. Thomas? What the shelters are actually facilities that are in use on a daily or monthly basis, but are then retrofitted, or since the public information officer come in with the big terms, repurposed to become a shelter. That's what it is. That's like the complex here on St. Croix, a school, but then it's converted into a shelter. That's how it works?
Yeah, they bring in the necessary resources, but they're called primary evacuation shelters.
Okay.
So you're supposed to only weather the storm there. As soon as the storm leaves, then you have to actually evacuate leave the shelter, because like you said, it goes back to schools, and trying to regain some form of normalcy. So they kind of keep them in the complex in the gym area, and the bathrooms are there, that it's in that corridor back there. And then there's a medical special needs shelter that you're supposed to pre-register with Department of Health and making sure you're a part of it if you do need those resources. But I know Director Joshin did mention that they actually were assessing alternate sites. So you see, if people lose their homes, where you could kind of go there for a time certain if your home was lost. But those are not publicly released, until that time comes through Department of Human Services.
St. Thomas, what are we dealing with in St. Thomas? What's the current readiness situation in St. Thomas? St. Thomas is physically not that much bigger than St. John, but population-wise, it's about 10 times the amount of people live on St. Thomas and St. John. So we're good there, or we're still looking for resources from the executive and legislative branch to beef up what we got.
I think we're getting better over there. There's always room for improvement in St. Thomas. One thing we do want to focus on a little bit more is just getting more into the community. Me and Ms. Martinez were able to actually go to the housing communities through Chief Ms. Pell at VI Housing, and she's actually making us go in there, because when we went there, we got a lot of feedback from the community members that, hey, you guys put points of distribution, but you put it in these areas that I think it was conflict, they said they might have in those housing communities with each other. They said some of them are retired. They want to be a part of the points of distributions. They want to volunteer in the shelters, but nobody gives them their opportunities. So we're trying to do like a boots on the ground approach and trying to get with them. So that's something we have to do, because we don't have that.
It's a foot on the ground.
I was going to, and that's why you said pull back. I was going to say, you said pull back. I was like, boots on the ground.
Yo, I wish you had do it, man. That's a local thing, you know what I mean?
I was like, let me
I don't like it,
Sorry.
Because I foot on the road, you know what I mean? Go ahead, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
That's okay. Yes, I was going to say that, but I
you catch yourself,
I
man.
did. I did. But there's always room for improvement. Right now, I don't have an outreach coordinator in my division. You know, that's a person that kind of goes out a little bit more and do preparation. So we're just trying to get out there. We're asking people to call us to come out, and we're willing to, but there's always room for growth. But with St. Thomas, we have to get more engagement with the Hotel Association. Lisa Hamilton is amazing. We just have to take time to go there because they have a lot more tourist traffic than St. Croix does have.
Correct.
So that's a gap for us there.
For population-wise, though, St. Thomas is the only island that has identified 3 shelters. Lockhart School, Eudorican, and then also Eudorican Cafeteria is also highlighted as preparatory shelters. And then also St. John, in addition to the Adrian Center, it was also the Gift Hill School for the 2025 hurricane season.
That's why I can book. I mean, that's why I don't yield. That's why I don't yield. You know what I mean? You don't yield. You don't provide the information. You know? So we're good with that. One of my listeners said the dynamics of this interview is priceless, right? and then she said, "Are priceless," and I told her, "No." I'm telling her now. I said, "No, is would be appropriate in local vernacular." You know what I'm saying? So let me finish up this text and send it back to her. Okay, so back to St. John. I saw here where the Department of Human Services, they actually asked St. John residents to pre-register for emergency shelters ahead of the hurricane season, which is a good move, actually, right? So talk about that relationship with Human Services, because they're critical.
Yes.
In terms of the networking with VITEMA.
No, we have a really good relationship with the Department of Human Services. Director Johnson is always in communication with Director George. Miss Yvette Henry out of St. Thomas. She's amazing because she's always in communication with us for shelters. She actually has been doing a really good job of training up her human services staff, you know, with FEMA training before the lockdown and making sure they got trained up. The reason for that with the pre-registering is because they have limitation with space and shelters. So, you know, to know what the gaps are, know if you can shelter in place with someone, if your house is strong enough, but that way they can project how much resources needs to be at those specific sites. But we have a really good open dynamic with them, and they're actually in the process of going to release with us a volunteer form. So, you know, people who always want to help is to put the volunteers in, like, you know, your specialty areas and knowing how you can help support. So that's going to be launching hopefully by January as well.
Okay. This actually this predated Commissioner George. This was
Kazi, no?
When Commissioner Kazi Gomez was there, and this is a good move. I like this idea. Now let me ask this question. Now I know there's certain things that are above your grade, right? Because you're not the director, and you're not necessarily into politics. You're an operational guru, right? And all that good stuff, right? With terminologies like foot on the ground and stuff like that. Right? What's the relationship with the Park Service? Because you just mentioned the key distinction between St. Thomas and St. John, where the Park Service presence and footprint is actually greater than the non-Park Service footprint and presence on St. John from a land standpoint. So is there a good relationship? We actually can't tell the federal government what to do, but you would want to think, or we would want to think as residents, that the Park Service would want to work hand in hand with the local government when we're dealing with events and circumstances like that. Are you familiar with that relationship? If not, we could move right on.
The part of it that I am familiar with is the tsunami sirens portion of it. Director Joshin is in communication with them because I think one of our sirens in St. John is under land or something to that event. So he's just in communication with them because we have to do like maintenance of it, and our siren monthly test that we do every month, every third Thursday of the month. So he's kind of trying to do like a MOU or MOA with them, with that specific portion. But that's the only part of that conversation I have access to because we have a tsunami meeting about every 2 weeks. He kind of provides updates too. So that's something Director Jackson is a champion of, but I don't think there's conflict because he does invite them to our Emergency Management Council meeting every month that he has with cabinets, and they're always a part of it. So they're there for the conversation. But I don't know if PIO Martinez wants to, anything she may have access to.
You
No?
definitely have way more access
You're
than me.
yielding to?
I did.
It's a lot of yielding going on because if you think it's above her grade, it's definitely above mine.
Well, I'm just curious, because remember St. John's situation is so unique,
It is.
So that's the reason why I asked it in that context, right? Now, boaters, right? We got to look out for them because when storm done, boat they'll be on top of Main Street, be on certain part of the boardwalk here on St. Croix, all that stuff. What are we telling boaters that they should consider doing or being more learned about in this 6-month window? See, the 6 month from December 1 to May 31st is just as important as the actual hurricane season because preparedness is what it's all about.
Correct.
Yeah. So what should we be telling folks who are like boaters who are out there and they're thinking, well, we're clearing out, but before you know it, something could happen overnight.
No, we're trying to get them to be more prepared. I think at VITEMA, through PIO Martinez, I'm trying to do more targeted outreach, to them with education and tips and preparation tips and what they should do. Because like you said, we know when we have our our EOC meetings, we have we hear from DPNR about the boats that washed up by, I think the legislature in St. Thomas. I think it just got removed recently, was in the process too. The one that was on the waterfront for quite some time. So we've been telling them to be prepared, but they're not specifically, it's a gap in us getting to them. It's not them, it's us getting the information to them. So we're trying to do more targeted approaches to them and create guidebooks or checklists of what we're going to be pushing to them so it's easier for them. Because sometimes when we give them a lot of information, I've learned that people can't take too much information at one time. If you give them concise and short and direct, they're able to retain it. So we're taking lessons learned from Puerto Rico and other territories and getting that to them. But when we say something is going to happen as a marine advisory, we're trying to get them to know, take your boat out, put your boat up. I don't know the right terminology because I'm not a boater, but just get your boat to a safe place so your boat does not wash up on shore or get any damage. So that's what we're working on.
We're talking with VITEMA. It's the last Wednesday of the hurricane season, not just the month of November. We'll take a break. Be back right after this. And we're back here on Analyze This. We got VITEMA in the house, Deputy Director Regina Browne, and Public Information Officer Julissa Martinez. Ms. Martinez, let me go to you. We live in a social media world, and there's a lot of information, misinformation, unverified. Sometimes it's actually true, but the percentages are lower than we probably want them to be. How do you go about balancing that, reconciling that, letting the public know who they should actually be getting information from, and not, the impact, not allow the impact of Facebook and all that? Well, I hear this, or this might be happening.
Very, very good question. It was definitely a challenging aspect of my position when I first started, but learning that the impact that social media can have, good and bad. One thing that we recite and repeat at VITEMA is know your sources and verify your sources and follow a few verified sources. During hurricane season, National Weather Service out of San Juan is a great page to follow. They will always push out information as soon as possible, and it is always accurate, so that is good if you can have identified sources. I will say that I think that the common thought process is that VITEMA might be a little bit late in reciting or reiterating certain information, but please remember that as a government entity, we have to ensure that all of the information that we put out has been verified. I know with tsunamis and earthquakes in particular, America or CNN or Fox News might be able to say that there was a 6.8 magnitude earthquake in the Caribbean. We have to wait for that information to come from Hawaii to verify before we can officially put anything out. So while it might be fast, it might not be good. So like I say again, please just make sure that you are verifying and following trusted sources, official sources of information.
Deputy Director, you want to piggyback on that?
No, I just agree with everything PIO Martinez says. I know if I say something, I may be opening the box a little bit with something, but remember the February 8th scenario, and my radar came out with the tsunami advisory right away before we actually push out something, because my radar is also tapped into that system. So then people were getting a little bit like antsy or nervous about what was happening and different things like that. So we took that event, went back to the drawing board, and now we have come up with more concise ways to get the messaging out. But anything of a magnitude over a 6.8 and above, it takes Pacific Tsunami Warning Center between 7 to 10 minutes to actually push out that information that you get on your phones through Alert VI. Then PIO Martinez is going to push out her iPods. You know, one that goes pong, pong. Like, that's not the right sound, but it's sound that goes off on your phone and it things off. But at the same time, we're pushing out that message. Like she mentioned, CNN is also getting that message. That's why sometimes people see it flash on their the news will say a tsunami advisory in effect for the Virgin Islands and different things like that. So it's just trusted sources. Like she said, National Weather Service, Puerto Rico Seismic Network, USGS, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center has their own page. Go to those specific resources. And one thing we also learned from February 8th, we had a little translation thing when Puerto Rico put out tsunami advisory. Facebook converted it to tsunami warning with the translation for Facebook. So now they're putting out infographics. So the stuff is going to be graphics already in both languages, so that translation issue doesn't happen again. So that's something we also learned on February 8th.
Talk about your relationship with National Weather Service.
We have a really good relationship with the Weather Service. We actually went there, I think I went there last year to visit in August to visit Ernesto Morales because he's in charge of us being tsunami ready. And every island is tsunami ready right now. St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John. We're gonna try to get Water Island tsunami ready.
But he kind of go with mouth we last time because he was here like a week before Ernesto itself came and brought that rain in August of 2024. So talk to Ernesto and tell him to scrub off that blight off of you.
I know. And they have two Ernestos, Ernesto Diaz and Morales.
Okay,
but we'll talk to him. But really good relationship.
Not his fault.
No.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, what are those during the hurricane? I mean, the Christmas season. This is a winding down period for Ohio. Or are you still making? You gonna have presence at certain events and all that, or agriculture fair is the next time? Or are you gonna actually, set up shop and make ourselves available for the public?
Yeah, we're always available for the public. I still have outreach presentations and stuff. On December 13th, we're going to be at the Children's Museum in St. Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
We open it up as Circa Center. It's like a coastal center. So if anybody in St. Thomas, please come out. I think it's like in the morning, but I'll get you the right times to PIO Martinez. And that's the first time we're opening that center where kids could go and learn about coastal hazards. We have a lot of things we're closing out this year. So VITEMA is still ramped up until Christmas Day, and then we coming right back because we have a lot of plans due for federal funding. But Ag Fair is the big outreach event next. We're going to be doing Partners in Preparedness, and we do that with Keith O'Neill from O'Neill's Transport, Crowley, Costules, Home Depot, FEMA, and it's a really good event. We get people signed up for Alert VI, and we give them each a generator. So we've been doing that for like 4 to 5 years, and we're going to be there all 3 days at the main entrance for the Ag Fair on your left. When you come in, we'll be right before tourism, and we're going to be there all weekend, with puzzles, magnets, different things from the Saturday straight till the Monday.
Okay. Question from the audience: can the guests share where are the low-lying areas by name in each district, and how high one must go to potentially avoid a tsunami? You said 82 feet.
82 feet above sea level, or 2 miles inland.
Okay. Where else we talking about? Like if we're there in Christianstead Town, the evacuation is to head up the hill to go to Seventh-day Adventist.
Yes.
Right? Where the church is up there, right? And kind of get to them on Pemberton or something.
Correct.
Right?
Or the bypass if you're in the heart
bypass.
of town.
That's a good point of reference to bypass. Downtown Charlton, Mali, where we looking at? Down there, down mountainous already. So what's the hilly? What's the evacuation route?
Downtown Charlotte and Mali, I don't know the right names of the roads, but you see where I have the market close to where I have a church there. You know what I talk about, like that market that is
Paul.
You go all the way back about I think it's a road in, because in St. Thomas you have to start at a natural land line in St. Thomas, not specifically the waterfront where the cement is. You have to go to actually the line. So Professor Wallington told us when they get to Main Street, like we did a tsunami walk by where the village to be in St. Thomas, we went up to Government House Hill.
Kangen's got it.
Thank you. Yes, up to that hill, and that was actually over the 82 feet above sea level. So that's what we actually did it from that parking lot straight there. We got there in 11 minutes, and it was different age groups, but we still were able to get there. We cut across that skinny road, go up those little bit of stairs when you cross, and went straight up the hill that way.
Okay.
So if they're there by they have the parade is going on, and they have all the troops there.
Be careful how you.
Sorry, I don't have
No. What I'm saying is, be careful how you're speaking in a Crucian twang talking to St. Thomas.
My bad.
And the way we pronounce words here and St. Croix, they might get a little offended because there and over here and all that stuff. I'm saying.
Right.
I'm just teasing. I like to tease them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. No. So we could actually get to a evacuation level rather quickly in Charlotte Valley. Is what you're saying.
Correct. Rather than 2 miles inland, it's easier to go up.
To the 82 feet.
Yeah, to the 82 feet. And you can actually have on your phone my elevation or my altitude as apps that actually tells you how high above sea level you are. And we actually walk it. So when we do the tsunami walks we had, me and Miss Martinez walk the road, with our phones to tell you exactly what it is. Like in West, we know that you see right in front of the project when you pass the post office, right there is 82 feet above sea level.
That's Mars Hill where Hurricane used to be?
Yes, but by Claudomaco, now you're above, you're over 115 feet above sea level. So we walk it with our phones and actually test it for you guys to know. But if you're at the village and something happens, go inland. Try to go to the cemetery or something, because we don't want you coming as flat all the way to get to Claudomaco, because the wave could go back, the water could recede, and then you'll be in a hazard's way. So even here, when Juanita used to evacuate, they evacuate to WTJX Hill. So they would come run through and go up. But we're trying to get them to do what AZ Academy used to be. Yeah. Because that's a quicker, go up rather than the kids running around the road. That could turn into a disaster.
The listener said, what is a skinny road? So I tell them, narrow.
Narrow, sorry.
Come, what they asked me.
I'm sorry.
No, but let's go back and explain that again, right? We're at the where the villages, or we're more downtown Charlotte Valley. When you were explaining,
that's where the village is.
Where the village is. Okay. So the village is actually right next to Fort Christian, and it's on the waterfront as well.
Correct.
Right. So which road are you talking about? Which way? We heading in the on the court side of the village, or the fort side of the village?
More
the court side would be east.
Yeah.
The fort side would be west of the village.
Fort side.
Well, the north it will be this way, kind of like because the fort down this side and the court down on this side. We went through the actual other entrance. You know where they have those ticket booths that don't work? Well, I don't know if they're working, so let me say that. The ones that'll be off.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's where the stage will be. We went through that way.
Okay.
To
So,
go up.
okay. So you're talking,
Then the credit union is like on that side too.
No. I believe that's Roosevelt Park.
Yes.
I was just gonna say
Roosevelt Park.
Right.
Yes.
Right. The brain still functions.
Yes.
Okay. That's Roosevelt Park. Okay, Carla, since you want the specifics, right? And so we're going. Okay. No, I know what you're talking about. And you're talking about the steps, right?
Steps is what we went up those steps.
Okay, good. Now, where Roosevelt Park is, you could actually head north and head up towards where Pilgrim Terrace there and all that stuff, and then head towards the Mafley area, right? And that'll get you immediately at 82 feet. Okay. So that's what we're talking about. So Roosevelt Park,
yes,
is the reference. No, that whole area there though. If Hassel Island wasn't there, then downtown Charlotte would be completely exposed. Right?
Correct.
So that's something that I always look at over there. And you got the Long Bay area, right over there where the boats are, and all that.
And it's always a concern for us too with BOC, Bureau of Corrections, because the prison, St. Thomas is right there. So they ask us for help. So we're trying to get with them, just to help them to see how they can evacuate. And of course, the legislature is right there too, just in ways to get them to safety as well.
Ms. Martinez, you want to get in the conversation? You just sitting there shaking your head and all that stuff. Just something.
Well, you're saying some really good things. I was just speaking with Didi Browne on the side, trying to remember, I think when we were identifying 82 feet levels when we were by Charlotte Amalia, isn't there a senior center that is behind of the school? And I'm not a Tomian Cancran. It was like an elementary school, and we identified the 82 feet by that senior center.
Senior center in St. Thomas. Are you help me out? Who listening in St. Thomas?
Remember, it was like this hospital.
No.
We were by on the side by Charlotte Amalie
High School.
Yes.
Okay.
What you're talking about by the hospital, by the Paragon building. You see what Cancran is? When you go up there, that's where you could evacuate if you're at Cancran, and those schools they go up there. No, that's not locked. No. Cancran is the right one, right?
Cancran by Banco Popular. That's where it used to be.
Okay, the way it used to be, but where Charlotte Amalie High School is,
High
where
School
the post office is.
That's Polybog and Sugar Estate.
Yes, when you go up there to that senior place up there, that's where the schools go. That's what she was talking about, right? That road is what she meant.
Just to identify another safe place, because whenever anyone hears the 82 feet, they're like, but what if I'm here? Where is 82 feet? And then also, if you are an iPhone user, your Compass app will also tell you your elevation at that current time.
That's what I'm talking about. Is since you mentioned Charlotte Amalie High School, and the long stretch, right? When you're leaving downtown Charlotte Amalie, and you're driving past the Omar Browne Fire Station, and then you get to Charlotte Amalie High School, and then you get to Schneider, right? But the hill, the actual crown of the hill, that's Polybog.
Yes.
That's 82 feet, to your knowledge.
Behind there.
That whole area that wasn't you actually have to incline and get up.
You have to get up. That's not 82 feet.
It's not 82 feet.
That might be 2 miles inland. So don't quote me on that, but it's definitely not above.
I don't think it's 2 miles inland. I don't think it's 2 miles inland.
But then no, they still need to go up higher.
They should go up higher.
Yep.
Okay. And so you have to go behind the hospital. Then.
Yes. Up to that. No, it's not the white. No.
I don't.
Is it Celestina White Senior Home? Like when you go to that road, is it right? Yeah. Am I right? Okay. Sorry, I didn't want to say it wrong.
Yeah, that area there. That's Sugar Estate. Yeah, okay. All right, then. That's what you're talking about. Well, check this out, man. It was nice talking to y'all. And I want to thank your agency and thank Celestina White Senior Housing.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
My audience is the best. I want to thank VITEMA for this temporary marriage, a 6-month deal we do every year. Thank the director. We have great conversations. I have good chemistry with him. And he's a good talker. Mm-hmm. I got people that like to talk, but he's a good talker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, I'm just give him his props, and we use. He has this ability to use references. He's real good, like talking about events that may have happened, like the fires in Hawaii, all that stuff, and talking about how emergency management. How they do their thing and all that. And I want to thank your agency. Looking forward to doing it again, beginning in May. Even though the hurricane season actually starts June 1, there's a tropical weather outlook that comes out a couple of weeks before that in May. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So tell the boss I say heal up, and I'm looking forward to talking with y'all again. And then we'll talk again for sure in March. You guys do the tsunami thing in March,
Carib
right?
Wave.
The Carib Wave. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Director and Public Information Officer, respectively.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
You got it. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to you and same to all your listeners as well.
We'll be back in a little bit. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters. The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.
And we're back here on Analyze This. I want to thank the Virgin Islands Territorial Emergency Management Agency, VITEMA, for joining us throughout the summer and the early part of the fall during the hurricane season. Looking forward to keeping that relationship in effect for 2026. Now we're going to transition. We got Veterans Affairs Director Patrick Farrell here in the studio. Good morning, Director. How are you?
Pleasant. Good morning, Neville. How are you?
I'm good. You want to introduce yourself to the audience?
Ladies and gentlemen, I am your Director of the Virgin Islands Office of Veterans Affairs, Patrick Farrell, here to serve our veterans. That's what we do.
talk about the mandate for the agency and how you go about informing our veterans, those who made the ultimate, play the ultimate presence role in making sure that we're safe, and the availabilities that your agency has for them.
So our biggest mandate right now is to make sure we advocate for our veterans here in the territory, whether you're from here or whether you moved here, this is now your residence, or whatever the case may be. Once you're here, we advocate for you. The biggest thing with the advocacy is access to health care, because as most of our veterans know, we have some challenges as it relates to getting access to health care. We have 2 clinics here in the territory, one on the island of St. Croix, one on the island of St. Thomas, which just has a primary care doctor, and then that primary care doctor will be responsible for referring you out to a provider, whether it be in the territory, if those doctors are within our community care network, or refer the veterans to Puerto Rico in San Juan at the VA Caribbean Healthcare System. We, as far as outreach, we play a very big role with the outreach piece. We have a very active social media page. I do a weekly radio show, very similar to the one that you are doing here now, and I do it on another station on Tuesday night, 7 to 8 p.m. to make sure that our veterans are aware of everything that's going on. We also have a website. We have the social media, we have the website, we have the radio show, and we also send out press releases very often to make sure our veterans are aware of what's taking place within the agency and in the community.
Numerically, how many veterans we got in the territory? Ballpark.
We are playing with, before COVID, we had a rough number of 8,000.
Okay.
And I do know for a fact that since 2017 hurricanes and COVID put together, that some of those veterans have left the territory for different reasons. So we may be down to about 7,000 or so right now. That's the number we're playing with now.
That's a significant reduction.
It is. When you look at what was taking place after the hurricanes, we lost some resources throughout the community, and then COVID came in, and so some of the veterans took off and went to different places to seek more resources.
We lost population as a result of the storms and all that, and the pandemic.
Absolutely, and just not in the veteran community, in the community as a whole, and also in the VA Caribbean Healthcare System headquarters in San Juan, they lost a significant amount of doctors as well. So the resources and availability of services went down a little bit. I think they're back up on their feet now, just about 100%. So that's looking up as a lot better now.
That's what I'm talking about. So what about some of the services that are available in Puerto Rico and us trying to incorporate them into our jurisdiction?
Well, I will tell you that a lot of people may not realize, but the San Juan VA Hospital is, I call it a monstrosity. You could go in that place and you get lost. It's like a maze in there. They have any type of medical service that you can think about, with the exception of trauma. Trauma is the only thing that they are not able to handle. And for cases like that, they refer them out. If it's real urgent, they use Central Medical, which is right across the street. And then if it's not Central Medical, if they have time, they may refer you out to a VA hospital on the mainland. Usually they use the closest one, which is the Bruce Carter VA Medical Center in Miami.
Okay.
So that's one that we use a lot if we have. But we don't have a whole lot of trauma cases. I'm grateful for that. But the resources there, and
it only takes one to expose what you have and what you don't have.
It absolutely do. And I tell you, we have used the trauma route a few times in my tenure here as a director. So I know that it's there and it's available to us.
Talk about you're in the business of Department of Veterans Affairs, but you also are indirectly or directly, whichever one you feel comfortable with, a recruiter for our armed services, or armed forces, I mean, from the standpoint that if in fact you were to commit to going into one of our different armed forces, right? Whether it be Air Force, Navy, Army, Marines. Was it Marine? What's the other one?
Space Force.
Not the Space Force. The
Coast Guard.
Coast Guard. Coast Guard. Right. And your role is to reaffirm to them that after they've served, there is an agency here that's going to look out for them.
That is absolutely correct. And there is a program that I usually take part in every single year. We have been doing it about, I want to say 5 or 6 years now, which is called the OCS, Operation, I forgot what the term actually stands for, but what it is, that program, it takes and wraps their arms around every high school student that wants to be a part of the armed services, no matter what branch of service it is. It stands as a coach to them and an informant to them. So it tells them all the things that happens within the military. And then my part, I come in there as a person who could tell them, listen, just like you said, when you come out, if you move back to the territory, this is what's available. This is what we do for you to say thank you and make sure that you're taken care of and make sure you get access to all the entitlements and benefits that you have earned.
You talking about the Officer Candidate School?
No, that's on the, you know what? It's our community salutes.
Our community salutes,
right?
Okay.
That's what it is. Our community salutes. So that program has been going 5-6 years now, headed up by Beresford Edwards here in the territory.
That's a national program that we have a local.
That is local chapter.
Chapter, okay.
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct.
Okay. And so there's an outreach going on through that program to our young people.
That is correct. Once they have, and the recruiters here in the territory are part of that as well. So once they say, well, hey, you know what, this is what I want to do, that program, every year we have a ceremony at Government House on St. Thomas and then on Government House on St. Croix, so that the leadership of the territory also confirms to them, listen, hey, this is what, we know what you're getting into, and when you come back, here's what we are willing to do for you when you get back as a thank you, and make sure you get taken care of.
You had a program this year at Government House in April, the 25th of April?
That is correct.
Okay.
We had one in, the 25th was actually on St. Thomas.
Not St. Thomas, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the following week we had it on St. Croix.
Okay. Our community salutes. I didn't hear about that. That's like
right.
That's a good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We started during COVID. I remember we started. It was actually virtual because we could not do it in person because of the situation going on around us. But we have now gone to doing in person, and we do it in person for the last 3 years.
Edwards.
Yeah, Beresford
right?
Edwards, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a man champion.
So I had a ceremony back in 2022. The Adjutant General was there, yourself.
I think the delegate was there as well.
Senate President.
Senate President was there as well.
Lieutenant Governor and the National Guard Chief of Staff. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. And I was, going back to the recruiting side, I had a stint in that. I was actually a United States Army recruiter.
Okay.
For the last few years of my term in the military, and I was actually stationed on the island of St. Thomas.
Okay.
So I had a good
how many years were you enlisted for?
20 years.
For real?
I did.
You were a career officer?
Enlisted.
Enlisted, okay.
Yeah. 20 years enlisted. I had a good time.
Army?
Army.
Okay. Right out of high school?
Right out of high school. 6 months later, I was on the plane.
Wow.
Anyways, no time.
Where did you basic training at?
I did basic training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, which we call Fort Lost in the Woods. That's in the because it's out there in the middle of nothing.
And where did your travels take you globally?
Man, it's easier to tell you where I haven't been than to tell you where I've been in that 20 years. But I seen
been Pacific Rim?
I didn't do the Pacific. That's the only side of the world I haven't been on. But I went to
Europe?
Germany. I went,
Germany?
Yeah, I loved it. I tried to stay in Germany, but
For real?
Yeah.
Is that nice over there?
It's that nice. But they told me I said that too late. They had already had my follow-on assignment, so they had to send me on. So I went from Germany, and then I went to Fort Riley, Kansas.
Okay.
Again, in the middle of nowhere.
Boondocks.
Boone. I mean, like when you're driving down the street, there's tumbleweeds going across the street. That type of thing. I mean,
The
real
thing that
life.
we see at the movie, them growing up.
Real life in living color.
Wow.
Tumbleweeds coming across the street. You know? I had 2 tours in Iraq.
Oh, really?
Yeah, two different tours. The first time I was there for 6 months. The second time I did an entire year.
That was in the Army, through the Army, not the Guard.
The first one was through the Army. The second one was to the VI National Guard.
VI National Guard.
As part of the
I know we had a heavy presence with the National Guard.
Yes, we did. We had a few units.
Per capita?
Yeah, we had a few units that went out there. The first one was a 631st Engineer Company. And we had MPs that went out there. We had the water distribution company went out there.
Yeah, a couple of my boys been Roy VLA.
VLA, of course.
Bolton Peterson. They did the thing. Yeah. We got Carla on the line. Good morning, Carla. Comment or question for the Veterans Affairs Director?
Well, not so much questions. Couple things.
No, I said comment or question.
Yeah, comments. These are a couple comments I'd like to make. First of all, I want to tell Mr. Farrell, I'm sure he recognized this voice, that I think he's doing a great job, and he has always done a great job. I've known Mr. Farrell for a long time. We went to high school together, and as a young man that I'm very, very proud of.
Thank you, sir.
So I want to let veterans in the community know that your focus has always been about supporting them and our community, and I truly appreciate that. So as a veteran myself, this is Randolph Bennett, I want to share to the community a couple things that's beneficial to veterans. There's a program called the Combat Related Service Compensation Program. Patrick, you're familiar with that?
Not a whole lot, but I have heard the term before.
Okay, so it's CRSC, which for those of us that served in combat and got injured in combat or got injuries related to combat, can get an additional compensation. It applies to military veterans who are retired, and it's a tax-free additional benefit of funds that if you've had a combat-related injury that you can now get. This program has been in place since 2004, but they were going back and forth until recently, just last year in 2024, it went to the Supreme Court because Santos versus the United States, that because veterans were not getting, they were telling you could only get one or the other, CRDP or CRSC. Well, it now finds out that through going to the Supreme Court approved it, that veterans can get both benefits. So you can get your military retirement, you can get your veteran disability retirement, income, and you can get this now CRSC payment added to your money.
That is correct. I'm aware.
Yes.
Combat related special compensation.
Yes, I am familiar with what he's speaking of. Now that he said the situation around it, I am aware.
They said to be eligible, you must be receiving retired pay and have a VA disability rating of at least 10%.
Correct.
For a condition that is considered combat related, such as injuries from armed conflict, hazardous duty, or an instrumentality of war.
Correct. So we have a lot of veterans here. As you said, we have over 7,000 veterans that are still on island. Many of them serve in either, we have Vietnam era. Also, we have the Gulf War era, which is my era, your era, Patrick. And if you're retired, then you can submit the application for this additional benefit.
No, hold on a second.
Yes, sir.
There's also the concurrent retirement and disability payment.
Correct. The CRDP, concurrent disability payment. That's what I said earlier. First, they said you can only get one or the other.
So that's what I'm saying. So you're now saying that a Supreme Court ruling has been in effect that allows for you to get both?
Yes, as recent as 2024. This just happened last year. So what has happened now, they're trying to get the word out Well, not really. If you know the government, they're not really getting the word out. But it's available. And they also said on their website, the DFAS website, that it might take a little bit because of this new availability, there's now a backlog, and there's going to be a backlog. But I want Virgin Islanders to get involved in this. Those who have been, especially if you're diagnosed with PTSD, you were in an armed conflict, you're entitled to this. Now, there's a calculation that goes with it, very much similar to how they calculate your veterans' benefits. You know, if you got 10%, you only get a certain amount. If you have 100%, you get a certain amount.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's numbers are going to be different. But I did some calculation yesterday because there's a calculator out there as well, and I've seen it can go even up to, $3,800 extra a month of income for a veteran.
In addition to your disability payments?
It's in addition, Patrick. In addition, my friend. In addition. It's concurrent. You will get it, like I said, before they were saying one or the other.
Right.
So this will be a huge, and also, here's a good thing about it, Patrick, and the listening audience. It tells you, if you go to the website, it has a back payment back to 2007.
Interesting.
Wow.
Before the back payment, because of the Supreme Court case, they lift the back payment. It only used to be for 6 years. It now goes back all the way to 2007.
Wow. It's a very long time. So imagine the impact and the strain it will have on the financial system, because I think as of now we have 2 million plus retirees in the nation.
But all those retirees and all those service members may not be combat related. They may not have a combat related injury. A lot of people never even served in combat.
Oh, we do have quite a few, though. I can say that. Quite a few.
In our community here in the Virgin Islands, because per capita, we probably the highest in the nation for combat service.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially during the Vietnam War era.
Yeah, man. Yeah. That window there.
So
we had, because I spoke about this, that's how Winston Ramo.
Mm-hmm.
The name, that's how I got familiar with the name and all that stuff.
Right.
And they got some others. So we're going to take a break. Hold on there, Mr. Bennett. We'll be right back. We got the director of Veterans Affairs, Patrick Farrell, here in the studio with us. We'll be back right after this. And we're back here at Analyze This. We're talking with the Veterans Affairs Director, Mr. Patrick Farrell. We also got Colin Lane, Mr. Randolph Bennett. Good morning, gentlemen. Glad to have both of you on.
Absolutely.
Good morning again.
Good. Yeah, go ahead.
Just before we got off, you asked, Director Farrell asked a question, can you get both? And I think he knows the answer, but he's asking that question for the listening audience. And so if you go on the website, it says, can a veteran get both CRSC and VA disability payments together? And the answer is yes. With CRSC, you can receive an amount equal to those less than or the length of time of service before retirement pay. And you and your VA disability compensation. So basically, if your injury was in combat, you will get both. See, a lot of people, even though they may have gone to combat, some people may not have been injured in combat. You understand? You may not have gotten, hurt or shot or whatever. So when people may say, well, it might be a huge financial burden on the U.S. government, well, our lives, our lives are on the line, and lives have been on the line to serve in combat. That's priceless. We keep America safe. The other thing is when you think about the cost for a tank or a fighter jet, those are in the millions or sometimes billions of dollars. So why are we not considering taking care of our veterans who have put their life on the line and who have been injured in combat? So that's one. I wanted to make sure that it is clear that you can get both. The other question that comes up is that is CRSC a lifetime benefit? And it says as long as your ability condition remain the same, you will continue to receive it. So as long as, for example, if you got shot and you never recover, you have the same injury, that's throughout your life, or you have a permanent disability, you will continue to receive those funds.
Thank you very much for your contribution this morning, Mr. Bennett. Appreciate it. Good to hear your voice.
One more thing I want to add.
Yeah.
Before I go. Every single veteran, and you've been in the legislature, every single veteran that served from the Virgin Islands, every single service member, let me put it before you become a veteran, every single service member that serves in the armed forces, if they maintain their Virgin Island residency, then their tax funds are returned back to the U.S. government, and it goes into the general fund. So when we have veterans, or service members, that are on active duty, I always encourage them to do like I did, maintain our residency here in the Virgin Islands. To me, that's not only does our service do well, but it also, as veterans, as our service members, continue to support our community even when we're away. And that's a federal benefit that comes back. The funds, even though you pay federal taxes, that money is then separated out and sent back to the Virgin Islands. And I've always been encouraging for the Department of Veterans Affairs, other people to look at those funds and separate those out. And those help with the veteran program to go to the university and things of that, but also to help veterans on many other levels like what Patrick is doing. So there's funds that's coming in. Thank you very much for the time. If you have any questions for me, I'd like to answer them now. Other than that, I'll say, guys, I continue to listen and have a great morning.
No, we appreciate your contribution this morning. Thank you very much. Good looking out.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You got it.
Neville,
it's good to know that we have Virgin Islands like Mr. Bennett who are there looking out for our veterans.
Right. If I may, I'll add some information to some of the things he was saying. I get a report every quarter from the Veterans Benefits Administration, which I requested a few years into my tenure that they send it to me every quarter. But I now know that we have the amount of veterans that we have in the Virgin Islands that's receiving disability compensation. It's up to, I think, $1.5 million per month. $1.5 million per month that veterans receive here in the territory. So that money is able to circulate here within our economy. I tell you that, and I thought about this because he talked about being a resident of the Virgin Islands or maintaining residence here. I just want to put that out there that we do have money coming in because of our veterans that are living here in the territory, which is a good thing.
I got a question here. That isn't related to this. So I want to go back to something that I mentioned earlier, right? We were talking about, or Mr. Bennett mentioned that we lost a lot of Virgin Islanders in Vietnam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've lost Virgin Islands through a lot of conflicts, right? We lost a number of them in Iraq, right? However, there's something I want to ask you in terms of looking out for our veterans. First of all, there's a list here of the U.S. military fatal casualties of the Vietnam War for home state of record, right?
Correct.
And they got Virgin Islands and they got them listed here. However, we had a lot of Virgin Islanders who enlisted
in New York.
And all that stuff.
Yes.
Is there? How do we go about if they happen to move, because that was our part of that migration window when a lot of Virgin Islanders had family in New York.
Yes.
They would go to New York and then enlist to New York. That's 60 years ago. Now we're here in 2025, and you're a veteran. You might have enlisted in the mainland, through the mainland, but you're actually living in the Virgin Islands. How do we go about facilitating to make sure that the Army addresses their needs and don't question? Well, they got a right to question potential fraud, but they would know who served in the armed forces, and how do we make sure that what they are deserving of as it relates to them being veterans is made available to them here in the Virgin Islands?
Well, I tell you what we have done in the Office of Veterans Affairs is the team and I, which I call the pillars of the Office of Veterans Affairs, the pillars and I sat down, we had a conversation a few years ago, and we, after realizing that so many veterans, not only were they residing in New York and a couple other states and end up being drafted and stuff like that, but some of them were drafted from here and were forced to enlist in places like in New York, because we didn't have a place for them to enlist from here. So their record of discharge, the DD-214, is saying places like New York. So we had a common sense conversation. It was like, you know something, by law, by the VI code, you must be what we call a Virgin Islands veteran to take advantage of certain benefits that were passed through the institution that you are part of, the legislature of the VI. We know that if a veteran has New York on their discharge documents within a certain period of time, during the Vietnam time, there is a 96% chance that they have New York on their document because there was not a place for them to be enlisted right here in the Virgin Islands or there in Puerto Rico, where some of them were enlisted through Puerto Rico, but some of them were taken and were enlisted through New York. So we take that into consideration, and we have them put a letter of memorandum for record on file, stating to us that, hey, listen, I was a Virgin Island at the time, but I moved to New York because this reason or that reason, and that's how I ended up being having New York or any of the other states on my DD-214 versus the Virgin Islands. So we take that into consideration, and then they are afforded all of the state benefits that veterans are afforded here in the Virgin Islands.
I had a Monday show one time with our table talk, and so we were talking about Winston Ramo. It was Rakia, myself, and Doug Cole and Ronnie Russell, and every time we bring up Winston Ramo name, Doug Cole, I say, "You got brother named Gun," right? So I like that, but we got a list here, right? Got a list here of the U.S. Military fatal casualties. Let me run through it, right? This is Vietnam, right? This is Roy Antonio Arbein, Louis Edward Berry, Clarence Van Beverhout.
He was the first casualty from the Virgin Islands in Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Wow. David Lee Brodeur, James Augustus Francis, Cuthbert Hertaut, Gabriel Jeffries Jr., Andrew Alfonso Lang, he was out of St. Croix, and along with Gabriel August Jeffries Jr. But the Andrew Alfonso Lang, what do you know tell me about he? Eugenio Harris had mentioned him to me. Another one out of St. Thomas, Liston, Raphael Leonard, Albert Joseph McAuliffe, he's out of St. Croix, Francois Achille Peterson, out of Christiansted, Winston Glenwood Ramo. The name they got a center for him, right?
Yes,
over there, right?
Around the field.
Around the field, and he was actually of all the names here, he was a Marine Corps. Yeah, a lot of them, everybody.
Most of them are Army, but there are some Marine Corps.
He was a Marine Corps, Yes. Richard Simpson, Shot, he's out of St. Croix. Llewellyn Antonio Smith out of St. Thomas, and John Albion Wheatley out of St. Thomas as well. However, right, the conversation actually started from a conversation I had the night before. My godfather, Bayi, he lived in Queens since the late 60s, and he's a vet as well, right? And he mentioned the name Gladstone Carlwood, right?
Gladstone Carlwood.
Check out this story. Right? I know you're going to like this one, right? They actually graduated together from high school, so he was familiar with that one, right? There's a website called honorstates.org, right? That recognizes all of the veterans, right? And they say they recognize Gladstone Carlwood, a veteran from New York, right? That's the reason why I brought him up. He is actually a Charlton Valley High School graduate. You check what I'm saying?
See?
So yeah, so this is an example of what you were talking about, right? So we had a lot of them, and then we had a lot of our veterans who actually enlisted to Puerto Rico as well.
Puerto Rico as well, that is correct.
Right? I think Fort Buchanan.
Fort Buchanan.
There. You know what I'm saying? So it's really something that we need to, fine-tune to get the actual figure, right? But the real reason why I want to talk about it is I believe, right, that the greatest piece of legislation in the history of America is the GI Bill. Because you'd be surprised at how many people who turned out to be a who's who and influenced Virgin Islanders, right, were beneficiaries of the GI Bill.
Of the GI
right?
Bill.
To include Randall Doc James, who people don't know. They know he has a doctor, but they don't know that the GI Bill is so actually allow for he to end up going to Howard and all that stuff. He knows a doctor. You check, of course, he might have had, an ailment that didn't allow you to actually be in combat and all that stuff.
Right.
But still, the value of the GI Bill, one could never ignore it.
I agree with that more than 100% because I have a personal story. On that.
You see, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
When I graduated from high school, I wasn't the sharpest pencil in the drawer.
You a Nazareth or a downtown?
I was a Nazareth.
Yeah, out in the country.
As a countryman. At the time I was a countryman, I actually started in the West. Called Terrace. So I was a Westman in the very beginning.
Down in the Bournefield area.
Down in Bournefield. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're talking about. By the big tree. Right?
Yeah.
So I didn't graduate the sharpest.
I mean, look at this innocent face, man.
Wow, look at that.
I mean,
look at
that. Glenn, you got it. Glenn, you can hone in. You can hone in on that. You can hone in on this. On this. You can hone in on it. This is like a baby who literally lost his life.
Yeah.
Protecting us. That's why we got to look out for our veterans. This is Gladstone Carlwood.
That's Gladstone. Okay.
Yeah. When you see his face, I mean, this just exuding, baby. He didn't even start to really get a good goatee yet. You know what I'm saying? So that's why there's a sensitivity level for them, man.
And the names that you call, I am familiar with them because in 2016 they had the 50th year commemoration going on the national level, the 50th commemoration of the Vietnam War. And my very first conference when I went up on the national level, these guys did a presentation. I say, y'all are not talking about the Virgin Islands. And I find that very strange. And I didn't appreciate that. So what I did now is I brought the commemoration team down to the Virgin Islands. And we had a ceremony on St. Thomas, we had a ceremony on St. John, and we had a ceremony on St. Croix.
That's awesome.
And we invited all the Vietnam veterans to that ceremony. That was under the the Mapata administration.
Okay.
And me, myself, didn't even realize we had so many Vietnam veterans that were still among us here walking the streets.
Now, the interesting about this website, honorstates.org, and the Gladstone Colwood reference, is that they say he's from New York, right? Right? And he was actually born the day after Veterans Day. He's born November 12th.
November 12th.
1947, right? And he was 20 years old. He didn't even reach his 21st birthday. He died on June 11, 1968 in Vietnam. But they do recognize the burial. The burial is West End Cemetery, Charlotte O'Malley, St. Thomas, U.S. Virgin Islands. So, we're not knocking them. It's not their fault that he registered through New York. They have to list it where he registered from.
Correct.
But at least they did recognize, we was buried, but there should be some recognition here as well. You know what I'm saying? That he's actually a Virgin Islander who registered through New York or was drafted through New York. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I tell you,
it would be good for him to have the record more comprehensive and detailed. That's the reason why I say that.
And as you speak of legislation, the legislation that allow those type veterans that are, and it speaks in the legislation specifically to being a domiciliary of the Virgin Islands. The way you're able to be a actual Virgin Islands veteran on paper and receive the benefits that the state has, offered. So I'm appreciative of that legislation as well.
Yeah, man.
There's been some great legislation for Virgin Islands veterans. Some people may not realize.
Celestino White's a vet.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
We had a few veterans that came to legislation.
We got a lot, man.
Yeah.
We got a lot of veterans here, and Korea. I had an uncle who was in World War II. My father's oldest brother. He was born in 1912, right? World War II was between 39 and 45, so he would be between 27 and 33. You know what I'm saying? And and we had a lot of folks who did a stint in Korea, Vietnam, and Desert Storm. You were in a Desert Storm. You were in 2000, the early 2000s. Desert Storm was 91.
I did Desert Storm.
You did Desert Storm in 91?
That was my first combat.
Wow. Well, Lewis Hill.
Yes.
Lewis Hill did Desert Storm, former senator. I
Yes.
worked with him and all that
Yes,
stuff.
I did Desert Storm and I did Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Wow.
Both of them.
We're going to take a break. Terry T texted me. He said, man, and soldier is an Anna's man.
You see, I started in the West and then I came up and ended up being an Anna's man. Respect Terry T.
so we will take a break and we'll be back right after this.
All right.
And we're back here on Analyze This, and we got the Veterans Affairs Director, Patrick Farrell, here in the house. Good morning, Director. Glad to have you here.
Good morning again.
And we recognizing, while having a conversation about the benefits and all that stuff that are available to our veterans, we recognizing some of our veterans who paid the ultimate price, right? So we mentioned Clarence Van Beaverhout, right?
Yes,
right?
He was the first casualty.
No, the guy's name is Varian Beaverhout, but we know it as Van, right?
Right. It is officially Varian
Beaverhout.
with a space in between.
Yeah. Now, when I'm looking at this one shocks me. By the way, Malcolm De Castro supposed to be calling in. I wanted to he done already? Okay, good. So we're gonna come to you in a little bit, right? When I look at the Clarence Van Beaverhout, you said he was a fuss.
Right.
Right?
Vietnam.
No, he died in Vietnam.
Correct.
Right? He was born on September 1st, 1929. Now, we spoke of Mr. Calwood, right? Gladstone Calwood. He born in 47, right? And died in 68. Van Beaverhout was born in 29 and died in 65. So we had people from multiple generations serving in the same conflict.
That is correct.
That lose their life in Vietnam. Man. He, according to this, Clarence Van Beaverhout a good 18, 19 years older than Gladstone Calwood and die in the same conflict.
Same conflict.
Wow.
And some of them back then served in multiple conflicts.
Yes, without a doubt. Right. Yeah, Malcolm De Castro, welcome back, man. How are you?
Man, my brother, I'm doing very well. Mr. Farrell, how are you doing, brother? I met you a couple of times.
Okay, how are you, sir?
Now, I got a comment and a question. There's a program called We Salute for veterans, get discount from hotels to rental cars to internet. They're very good. It's only like $46 a year, and it's a really good program. That's one. Number two is Mr. Farrell. I'm trying every time I'm a Santomian. Every time I come to St. Thomas or St. Croix or St. John, for that matter, I always ask for military discount at any place that I go. Why aren't we having military discount in some of these venues in St. Thomas, St. Croix, or St. John?
I didn't know you were a vet, man. You're holding out on your boy, man.
I'm a Vietnam veteran, 100%.
Man, it's an honor, man. You never tell me that. You tell me about silver dollar and all them things down there in St. Thomas and educate me. But me know you do some tours, man. Wow.
Yeah, I have boots on the ground, brother.
Boots on the ground.
Boots on the ground. Yeah, man.
I'm a Marine. I spent 13 months, 20 days in Vietnam.
Like Winston Ramo, you're a Marine.
Yes, I'm a Marine. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Semper Fi,
right? Yeah.
Semper Fi. Yeah. And one name we're missing on that list of names that died in Vietnam. His name is Justin Turnbull from Savannah.
And he passed away in combat.
He got shot up in Vietnam. Yes.
Wow.
In all fairness, there's quite a few names that's missing from the list. So
and Brian O'Reilly from St. Croix. Right. He would listen to the show one day. He called me. Right. They've actually done a documentary.
Yes, they did.
That documentary.
A very good one too.
Yeah. And a lady work with them and make it happen. I mean, I can pull it up. I can find it. But the question from Mr. De Castro,
the discount program.
I believe that there are entities that are involved in it, but he's wanting to know why more, if not all, have a discount program for our veterans.
So, and I appreciate that question because I will tell you, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but I started an initiative to have a Virgin Islands veteran discount program a few months ago. It has not jumped off the ground like we would want it to because the businesses did not necessarily come out and support it. There are some businesses, don't get me wrong, there are some businesses that do provide and have been provided for years discounts of veterans. While it may not be publicized, they do. Sometimes you have to ask for it, but it's a very few. There could be a whole lot more. I am going to put out that initiative again and start to jumpstart it again because I really feel that our businesses need to support the veterans a little bit more. Those that do not. And I had the same conversation on my radio show last night. We had a couple of veterans in conversation. So, Mr. Malcolm, it's not something that's far-reaching. It's right there on my desk, and we're going to jumpstart it again. So, have no fear. We'll be back with that.
Thank you for that. I like that because I'm an advocate for veterans in the Virgin Islands. I live in New York, but this is not my home.
Yes.
My home is in Thomas. As soon as my house gets finished, I'll be back on the rock.
Hey, welcome back to the rock. That's what's up.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey, good to hear your voice, man. Happy Thanksgiving, Uncle.
Same to you, my brother. I call you Godfather the other by he return my
You call by it. But I told him that I sent the number, so I gonna call you and Blazy for you today and tell you call you. And if he ain't call you, then I gonna go fly to New York and apply the whip. Okay? So
No, man, you can't. He's too old.
I said, look now, when we are young, right? When we are young, you know, our who's to take care of us? Auntie, grandmother, mommy. You go along to listen, right? When people talk to you. I gave him your number. He's supposed to reach out to you, right?
I remember that.
So if you don't listen, I'm going to play the whip because you know he's a man. You know what I mean? So you know how that is. But look, enjoy the Thanksgiving, and I'm going to let you know. I'm going to reach out to you after I talk to him.
One more thing.
Yeah.
When you're done by Niski, I visit your office a few times and we had a conversation. You don't have to remember me. It doesn't really matter. But I visit your office a couple of times. And we had an advocate that came from Puerto Rico. I was in St. Thomas for a while trying to help the veterans with their compensation disability program.
Yes.
And you helped me with that, and I invited a lot of veterans. Because Virgin Island veteran is so egotistical, crazy. They don't want to do nothing.
No, it ain't about egotistical crazy. It's about it's a pride thing. They ain't like to be going wrong. They're begging and all that stuff. You check what I'm saying? When they don't realize they're not begging, these are services that are available to them, owed to them, that they actually earned. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. But you're right. You're right in that regard, without a doubt. Thanks a lot, Malcolm.
Mr. Farrell, take care of yourself, my brother. I hope
Thank
I
you,
see
sir.
you soon. Even though I lost my eyesight, I hope I see you soon.
Likewise, I hope to see you, man. God bless you.
You got it.
All right, take
Thanks
care
a lot.
of yourself. All right, thanks a lot for everything you're doing for the Virgin Island veterans.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. The lady name is Joan Keenan.
Joan Keenan,
right?
That's right, Miss Keenan.
And Proudly
yes.
We Serve is
Proudly
the name.
We
Serve. And Harry Daniel and all them were part of that.
That was an awesome presentation.
Yeah.
When I got on, we became a sponsor of that as well.
Yeah, the Office of Veterans.
That is correct.
The Office of Veterans Affairs, the Virgin Islands Academic and Cultural Awards Endowment Program, and the Virgin Islands Humanities Council.
Yeah,
so it was a joint thing.
There's no way that I could not have been a sponsor for that.
Yeah.
When
and
I
apparently
saw what
they had
was about.
this is from 2014, so this thing is rich, right? This is over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And apparently they had a forum, and I see they had a panel, and I see Cynthia Van Beverhout Harris was a part of that. That's his
sister.
That's Gladstone. That's Clarence's sister.
That's Clarence's sister. That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. We are in touch with each other all the time.
Man. Good morning, Miss Van Beverhout Harris, and we recognizing the contributions that your brother made and the ultimate price, losing his life. Richard Schrader. Mr. Schrader is a vet as well.
Yes.
The
author himself.
A World War II veteran,
That's
man.
right.
Richard Schrader. Wow.
That's right.
Well, that's what they say, I mean, when Malik Siku and Raki and all of us would talk per capita.
You know Malik is a veteran?
Yes, Navy.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Malik educate me, man. I always born in 64. So we tease each other and all that stuff. What I mean, but no. We I'm telling you that GI Bill is a hell of a
Yeah.
Now, when you stop and think about it, right?
Yeah.
And just thinking about how that's why legislating, Director Farrell, when elected officials sit down and really decide we're gonna go to work and we're gonna do things that are gonna benefit those and benefit the community, because in doing this, when you're allowing for education, right, to play a key part, in your society, then you building the fabric, you making the fiber stronger, man. You know what I mean? And that's why we got to, continue to do that.
Like you talk about education, I want to put a feather in the cap of then Senator Samuel Sanders, now the administrator of St. Croix.
64 child, 64 baby.
He championed a piece of legislation which I wholeheartedly support it at the time. I went and even testified on this. The Virgin Islands is the only place on the United States flag where a veteran can go to their local university up to doctoral level classes for free.
Wow.
The only place in the United States and its territories. They
man.
talk about us a lot. They put us on a lot, but guess what? They can't touch us with that one.
No, man. No,
Thanks to Samuel Sanders and the rest of the senators that were part. Well, you were part of the body at that time.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. When you talking, I just there reminiscing, you know what I mean? Because you validating what I say, you know what I mean? So I like
Of
you
course.
Right, want to give a shout out to Ruben Lamata. He was a corporal and he served in Korea. Right, and Lucy Lamata texts me there and all that stuff. Yeah. And when you reading them names, man, they get personal, you know. You know what I mean? So we go that. I think we got another caller on the line. Good morning, caller. How are you?
Good morning, caller. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, Eddie.
How you guys?
Eddie, how you doing?
Listen, I'm doing good. I had to come up to Chicago for some special treatment, but I want to say this: before I was called up to Chicago, and it would take me a week to get 4 appointments. Once I went through the VA, they put me and my daughter on a plane on the UVI side of the airport. We got on a 10 o'clock plane. When you get to the VA hospital and they find out you're from the Virgin Islands, they put you on fast track.
That is
I had 4 appointments before 12 o'clock.
Wow.
And we was on a 1 o'clock plane coming back.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And that's thanks to Mr. Farrell. He hooked that up. But
that's correct.
You got to make your phone call to the vet center and make sure you get your appointment set up. And they'll once they find out you from the VI, you fast track. There were 8 of us, 8 veterans on the plane, and wife and company. And
which force did you serve in, Eddie?
I was Navy submarine, 7 years.
Okay.
Sanders will glad to hear that.
Yeah, Senator Sanders a Navy man, so and Malik Siku.
From 1960 to 1967.
Now, when you relocated from Minnesota down to the VI, was there any issues there, or you just let them know that you're now in the Virgin Islands, and they took care of that?
No, I let them know right away.
Yeah, no issues.
Whatever they had available, I was available to get.
That's what I'm talking about.
And Mr. Farrell doing a good job. But man, one day, if you make your phone calls, veteran, you make your phone calls, then they set you up for what you can't get on St. Thomas, you could get at VA hospital. They fast track you, and we had time for lunch, and the lunch was very reasonable and good food.
Yeah, man.
But the treatment was fantastic. You habla inglés, por favor, and everything was cool. Thank you, Mr. Farrell. That's all I had to say.
Thank you very much, Eddie, for the contribution this morning. I appreciate it.
It's 30 degrees, man.
Hey, yo, Eddie, get your treatment and come on back home, man.
Oh, yeah, I'll be back over Christmas, but I hear Thanksgiving.
No, you do what you got to do. Just make sure you get the treatment and get whole and come on back and be with us. Okay?
I go out for a walk now.
Of course. Thanks for listening from afar.
Yes.
Good. Yeah. We got Sonia Dow from the WIM Museum. She said they offer free tours to the veterans.
Okay.
And we also encourage them to archive their family and military service in our library to ensure that future generations can know as much as you do. No, it is, I know as much, but I just, I got a soft spot. My uncle was one of the early adjutant generals, Los James.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And his son, Los, the lieutenant governor.
Yes.
He was also in the service. You know what I'm
he's
saying?
also a vet. Yes.
Yeah, he's a vet, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we go look out for the vet there, man. So you feeling good about the agency?
Hey, I'm feeling marvelous about the agency. I am able.
Putting over 10 as a director.
Listen,
right? I know you started in 15, right?
I started in January of 15.
Yeah, man.
And I'm still here.
Yeah, man.
But I'm putting the pedal to the metal, and I'm going to keep doing whatever I can do. But I wanted to talk about before we have to wrap up.
The travel, right?
The travel. Two things. Yeah. First of all, the travel. So we partnered with the Flight Wheel Airlines.
Okay.
They're, by law, our veterans must pay. Well, before they were able to pay for their travel, and then we reimburse them. But we were able to go into a partnership with Flight Wheel where our veterans now will fly on Flight Wheel. If they're going from St. Croix to Puerto Rico for free.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
No more reason for them to dig into their pockets because so many of them are on fixed incomes.
Correct.
So we set it up now
So
where...
we got to give a shout out to Fly the Whale for being a good corporate partner.
Love them.
Yeah.
Great corporate partner.
Yeah. What's the second thing?
They come into the office and we do that. So the next thing is Floyd Lake and Eugene Canagated the third.
Yeah.
We lost them in Operation Iraqi Freedom. I am
Not Eugene.
David. Sorry, David.
Toshi.
David Canagated, right?
Yeah,
David.
Gene there.
So he did with us.
Yeah.
I'm starting an initiative so see if we could get the VA clinics. On the one on St. Croix named after Eugene. I mean David. Why I keep saying
David?
And then the one on St. Thomas after Floyd.
Okay.
So we look forward to that.
Yeah,
and we need to have our federal facilities.
It's been almost 20 years. Time to fly. But it's been almost 20 years.
So I'm on the path to do
recognize that. Thank you for joining us today, man. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Good morning, Wallace Williams. He's a Vietnam vet as well. He worked for a lot of years with our public libraries, national with the DPNR, or the DPNR, and so we're gonna give a shout out. I shout out to all the vets. If I didn't call your name this morning, right? We got love for all of you.
Love
you know
alone.
We go to that. Hey, thanks for coming. We didn't do a show on Veterans Day, so you kind of make up for it today. I appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're looking forward to talking with you again, okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We didn't get to play any music today, so we'll make up for it sometime next week. Check you on Monday. It's a long weekend. Be good and be safe.
The views and opinions expressed on Analyze This are entirely those of the on-air participants and do not reflect those of the station's board, management, staff, or underwriters.